My name is Andrew Marr, and I'm a retired Sergeant First Class. I was in the Army in Special Forces. We didn't really have a good concept of what a traumatic brain injury was when I was in. So one of my duties on the teams was a breacher, so I was putting surgical explosive charges onto 9 points of entry. So in and around explosions on a daily basis as part of that job to be proficient. So I was only knocked unconscious once in combat. And again, we didn't think much of it. And so when you look back on it, you know, it was around thousands of explosions over 10 years in SF. So what that ended up was, you know, again, what we now know is a number of traumatic brain injuries. And because there was no physical signs of anything, it was hard to understand what was going on. So I went from being a high performer capable of making life and death decisions in life and death situations consistently and reliably. And I woke up one day, found myself on 13 different medications. I was alcoholic. My wife was pregnant with our 5th child. And she had to ask me if I'd keep my drinking down for the day in case she went to labor, so she didn't have to drive herself to the hospital. And that wasn't even enough to get me to stop drinking at the time. My thoughts and my actions weren't lining up, and I couldn't understand why. And so I remember we went through a troubled time there. My son was in the hospital. He had some life-threatening illnesses, and my wife had to go into emergency labor with our child, and I was, you know, drinking and popping opiates in the hospital. And so my wife was giving birth to our son, our youngest, and then my boy had to be in emergency surgery at the exact same time. So I'm going back and forth between the 2nd and the 4th floor, trying to be there for both of them. And then I had a horrible pain in my leg that turned out to be a blood clot. And because I didn't move on it, it broke off into both of my lungs. So I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism because I refused to get any treatment until after my boys were okay. So all 3 of us were in the hospital at the same time for about 2 weeks together trying to recover from that. And again, I remember being in the hospital at my son's bedside, and I made a decision to stop accepting or blaming my circumstances, because at that point, I had gone from being a very positive person into, you know, I understand now as a neurological deficit, but I couldn't understand why all of a sudden I was just negative. So I made a decision, hey, I'm gonna quit blindly accepting everything that's being told to me in the path of conventional medicine, and I'm gonna heal myself. And I don't care the fact that they've told me that this is the new me and accept this. Because I knew if I kept on that path, it was gonna kill me, and it was gonna ruin my family. And it was like an epiphany, and it was like chains were broken free. And that led me on the path to start looking for different answers, which led me to Dr. Mark L. Gordon, who is the leading neuroendocrinologist in the world. And he reached out to us. We had some media coverage. And he said, listen, we've been treating, I'm a head trauma survivor. We have protocols that we've put in place for the last 14 years with phenomenal results. And again, it's because we can identify and treat the underlying condition as opposed to masking symptoms. When Mark did that for me, man, it was instantaneous. I started to feel better. And now I'm off all 13 medications. Hadn't had a drink since October of 2013. I'm functioning at a cognitive level that's as good, if not better, than my pre-injury status. You know, and the VA, you know, has quoted me at 33 different disabilities, and so by definition, I'm supposed to be severely disabled. But I'm telling you, that's just not the case. And we've been able to replicate that now for 157 other veterans. I'm proud to say, and it's our honor to continue to do that to help others in the same situation. The main thing that we're focusing on is bringing the educational aspect of, hey, if you're on antidepressants and you're still depressed, then maybe that's not the issue. If you're on anti-anxiety pills and you still have anxiety, then maybe that's also not the issue. So what I want people to know is, we need to get to the underlying condition. There's an answer, there's hope. It's not a life sentence. And so being out here today with everybody else has just been a phenomenal, phenomenal event, a phenomenal day. I just, with infinite love and gratitude is the best way to wrap up, you know, my response today.